black pillars. But yeah, what kind of content do you watch?
I watch mostly the stuff. You can't avoid it because like whenever it's like there's controversy, like somebody's talking about, oh, this guy's like, it's why I have to look into it and see. It's like I'm just curious, and the stuff about like, is he a Zionist or anti-Zionist?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
He wants a Christian America without any lobbying powers from AIPAC or any Israeli influence, Ukrainian influence, Muslim influence, which I thought is like a very normal position, but he's on a watch list for saying this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like that other guy, is it Tate? Like he's not like
Andrew Tate.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I don't know what's going on with him.
But his is actually like he worked with hookers in a corrupt country, so that's like actually breaking the law, right? I don't know how that works, but Nick's is just like he's at home in a computer. How did he get on a no-fly list?
Well, he was at certain events.
But it's not. He broke into J6.
No, but like just being there at certain things.
But how come everyone else there was not on a watch list? Just him?
They probably are. They just don't have influence, so it's not. You know.
Oh yeah, because he has such a big following. Is that what you're talking about? Like,
yeah, especially when this political season starts, he gets that big wave of red.
Yeah. So you were on his show or something like that? Or
no, it's a political panel, and you know, like I went from I guess violent drug dealer to Christian, but I wouldn't call myself a Christian. I would just pray to God. And then you know I watched more of that kind of stuff and slowly went that way.
Yeah.
And then I was like very drug addict, suicidal, and now I'm a drug addict with the Bible. So I don't know. I've been smiling for like ever since I started being a Christian, and I've never had a week straight of smiling, let alone 3-4 months. And
so you converted recently, or
right?
Converted, but
yes, yes. And I like reduced all the degenerate stuff I was doing, but I'm still doing drugs and alcohol. But do you know when you wake up with the depression? It's just not here anymore. It's like I'm getting away with murder, and people are like, "Oh, just wait a little longer." I'm like, dude, I used to get it every couple of days. Now it's been 4 months straight.
Yeah.
And I really think it's to do with my career because it was kind of gliding, and now it's skyrocketing. So I'm so busy. I think I'm too busy to be depressed now, or it's the fact that Christ is real. Hey, man, I'm not switching up, right? But it is interesting because when I did convert, that was the worst month of my life ever, ready to end it, because I know I'm being watched by an eternal God, could be Christ, whatever, but I had a month of being a Christian, and it was the worst month to where I was cursing Christ and punching walls, because I didn't think me getting cut with a knife and jumped and all the stuff in my past, losing my friend who got me, just fixed my life, stabbed to death, and all this and I'm a refugee, all this horrible stuff, and none of it affects me anymore. But this 1 month of someone I cared about self-harming bad with a knife, and I'm not thinking like, oh, God's gonna punish me. That's like a secondary thought. I'm thinking like, I'm not the hero I thought I was, and I'm way too old to not be a hero, because you know when you're delusional, you're like, I'm finally an adult and stuff. And so I'm like, damn, the worst month of my life is 28 years old. That's very late. The worst day of your life should have been much earlier. Like most people have their suicidal thoughts at 24 when they finish college and post-secondary, all that. And so I'm thinking like, dude, it just got worse for me. And I lost a ton of money that year and banned from even working. So, and I was alone for the first time in a different country, different everything. And I never had friends. So this one person that harmed themselves was my only friend, right? It's like someone I was seeing.
How did you get banned from working?
Well, you get banned if you make an edgy joke on these platforms, right? They're very...
Oh, like social media.
Twitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after a month straight, I had my first... I wouldn't call it psychosis, but you know what sleep paralysis is?
Yeah.
So in sleep paralysis, you know you're dreaming, but you can't snap out of it. But I self-induced this by reading online, and I've studied this stuff of drinking, drugs, meditation, being alone in a dark room for a couple of days, not sleeping, pretty much putting yourself into like, you know, that state where people kill themselves. I pushed myself all the way there to go. I said, let's feel everything. If I can feel everything, every fucking evil that I'm feeling, because it's been a month and it's the darkest month of my life, January, 2023. And I really thought it's been years since I've had like this much struggle with mental health, all that. I've never had these problems. And so I put myself there at the end of the month because I wouldn't let go of being a Christian because I didn't want to look like a pussy. Imagine if I had to tell the world, oh, guys, that month was so bad. I hated being a Christian. I'm done. I want to go back. I didn't want to look like that to friends, family, and everyone. Like, whoa, what a phony. You're going to do a month? But, man, everything was telling me if I stay another day as a Christian, I'm going to take my own life. And I've never thought like this in my life before. But, again, these thoughts come in like a almost coma state of drugs and alcohol. At the darkest part, I start slipping out of consciousness and into that sleepiness where I know I'm dreaming. And I've never had sleep paralysis. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. Oh, there's nothing here. And it was the greatest dream I've ever had with my brother, girlfriend, with beautiful sun and green grass. And I was like, oh, I'm just so tired. I finally got rest. I'm in a good dream. And the dream was real. And I stopped thinking it, you know how you go, oh, I'm in a dream?
Yes.
No, it was a real dream. So I thought it was reality. But then it all got taken from me. And I couldn't go to my friends and family because it got dark. But it got dark because they walked away and said, don't come after us. And I got this feeling of, holy shit, no one in my life wants me to chase them.
Yeah.
And I went into the worst darkness. I'm like, I can't even kill myself because I snapped out of it. I'm like, I'm in a dream. I'm not in a fucking, I'm in a dream. Wait a minute, this has to be a dream. Wait, what the fuck? Why can't I wake up if I know it's a dream? I feel like I'm in cold sweats. And as I'm sinking, I remembered why I self-harmed into this state, to test if Jesus is real. Because, in your dreams, they just mean a lot. I read a lot of Freud, so dreams mean everything, right? They're wish fulfillment, really.
Yeah.
So if you're having a dream of stabbing yourself, you want that to happen to you. It's self-aggression. It's it's depression, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, I'm at the bottom of the pit and I'm suffocating. I remember why I was self-harming, because I kept forgetting for 48 hours as I'm doing it. I was self-harming to test. Let's test the word. And so as I'm suffocating, I tested it. And I said, Christ is King. And I snapped that second awake.
Okay.
In cold sweats. And I wasn't shocked, like, where am I? I knew exactly that I woke up. And I did not have an overwhelming sense of, I love God. Didn't give a fuck about God. Didn't even want to talk to him. In my head, it was almost like a second of planning. I don't want to do religion for another month. Like, just take a break from this shit. All I could think about is that I have my family. I have what's left from the war. I have, I guess, somewhat some friends. Not really. But, it was like better than that fucking nightmare. And that was my first process. So I bursted out as the first time in my life as an adult, crying like a bitch. And I've been crying in years, dude. And I usually, when I cry, it's like a fucking tear rolling down my cheek. And it's more anger. This one was like crying like a woman. Very unlike me. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure it'll stop. Bro, 2 hours straight of the same energy. Who cries with the same energy from the first minute as the hours later? And I couldn't stop. And it was like a workout. That's how tense my body was from crying. I don't think I've ever cried like that in my life. Even the worst phases were like a different, more angry crying.
Yeah.
But this one was just like, holy, everything I've done in my life.
Did it flash before you?
Yes, and it pushed me away from family. Oh, I'm going to make $1 million. I'll be right back, family. I kept pushing them away. But I'm like, dude, I owe my parents my 20s, not my 40s. I don't give a fuck about money. But I keep, don't call me. Don't put me in a bad mood. I make millions of dollars when I'm funny. Leave me alone. Well, back then I was broke. But so as I'm bursting out crying, I really started wondering about Freud and Jung and all the greatest minds who said dreams mean something. And Carl Jung said there's no such thing as a coincidence. If you stepped in a puddle that day and you thought about it when you went home, really wonder what the fuck you stepped in and what it meant to you, and unpack it and think backwards into it. So I'm like, if there's no such thing as coincidences, do I really want to believe the love I have for my family is just chemicals in my head? No, there's a spiritual connection. I believe that. I'm not a fucking atheist. So I said, I don't think even atheists believe that. So I said, okay, if I don't believe it's just chemicals, pew, 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 retard shit, then it has to be that dream is spirit world. And if there's no coincidences, and it's that vivid to me, and that's visceral, and that the most significant moment in my life, in my mind, if the most significant moment in my life is just a dream and chemicals, but the greatest minds are saying coincidences don't exist, then that dream's no coincidences. And that wasn't a fucking dream. I was in the spirit world. And I went there to test to see if Christ would pull me out of that.
And what happened?
Well, he did. He did. And it took me a week of processing the dream to realize, oh, those guys I used to call homosexuals my whole life, Christians, turn the other cheek, I'm one of them. Because I can't let it go now. That's the most significant day of my life was that. And then stuff starts happening for my career while I'm happy, but I'm still degenerate, drinking, partying with fucking whores and shit. With Heel Mike, my best friend on Twitch, randomly hits me up and goes, I'm in LA too. Come live with me. No one's using this room. And we didn't work together. We just lived together, but I'm very antisocial, so I stay in my room all day. But, you know, I liked having him there. And then my career starts buzzing, and then I said, I'm going to go back into the literature that I was obsessed with. And when I went to the history and the timeline the second time, reading became very easy now. And all those burdens of I need a girlfriend, I need a friend, all gone. Didn't care about getting paid, just did my work, you know, did my career without getting paid for a month. And my career, with the feeling of I didn't give up at the darkest moment, I stuck with Christ, my career skyrocketed. And right now you're talking to the most famous nigga on the algorithm. You know Bradley Martin? The YouTube, that's a gym guy, right? The nigga's my son right now. I get more views than him. If you Google John Zherka, I was just on his podcast.
I've heard your name before. You're that guy.
I'm that nigga. And check this out. Everyone he's had on his podcast, it'd take them 8 months to get a 200,000 views. I fucked up the game. I had 700,000 views in 48 hours. In first 24, I did 500,000, and which is kind of a deja vu, really, for me. But I haven't seen success like this. And you know what's funny is, no, I don't feel the success. I just feel closer to Christ.
Wait, how'd you hear John's name?
I think I've seen like video clips or something. Like is it Zherka?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. And I don't spend that much time on social media.
You see that one where I slapped a woman? That's coming soon. That's coming soon.
I'm probably sure.
I'm kidding.
Well, no. If you can remember, what platform was it? Was it YouTube, TikTok, or?
It's probably TikTok.
Yeah, I don't. I just because you know, like you'll see clips everywhere, right? Like
no, whatever, but the weirdest part is the harder Muslims, more hardcore Muslims in my family. They hear the whole story. They love the content and they go, yeah, but that's just a dream. Come back to Islam. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Are you?
Well, I thought you got kicked off though, right? You said you got kicked off. Did you come back on?
No, I didn't go back to Twitch. I just popped off on the big money website, YouTube. So Twitch is kind of like my ex who misses me, but you know I'll come hit that when Pokemon calls, right? But the point is, you know her.
I've heard the name. So like it's like a
mid.
Yeah.
But yo, the point I'm trying to make is, now I go in debates where people are trying to say, hey, it's just a fairy tale. It's just all the money that circulates around the Vatican, around this little book, the first book ever made, the Bible. It's just a fairy tale. Let's stick to Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I actually like Anakin's story the best, more than the Christ story, until I realized they stole it from Scripture. Born of a virgin, all that. So I'm at this point in my life, and I'm looking at the biggest money contracts ever. But I'm worried I'm demonically charged, because you know a lot of rich people are demonically charged. So I JQ'd the hardest to see if I'm working with the J spirits, and turns out I'm actually one of the good guys for the first time in my life, and that's crazy.
How does that feel?
Like imposter syndrome, to be honest. Yeah. I feel like Peter Parker, and then when I go live, I put on that holy mask.
What if I will like went and searched, because I know I've seen your name or something like that. Wait, you said the most famous thing is you slap somebody? Is that, or are you kidding?
It was a 13-year-old girl. She stepped on my toes, and she was black. A black little girl. I'm kidding, but no. The most famous thing I'm known for, I guess, would be my unapologetic comedy. Like it's kind of dark humor, to be honest.
Okay.
And I guess they call me a hypocrite for that. Oh, and I do a lot of cocaine, but I'm a Christian. So they're like, you're not actually saved because you did a fucking a bump of coke. But these Christians saying it to me, they watch porn. I don't watch porn. They watch fucking porn all day. So I don't know. I'm rambling. My bad.
That's all right. So you came to the conclusion that God does exist, and He saved you. I guess.
Yeah, and the Muslims are goat fuckers. Like the family I came from, I gotta convert them back to Christ. Oh, is this us in a gym? Oh wow, what are we doing here? We're in the wrong place.
No, we're right here.
I'm so sorry for rambling.
No, that's okay. I like it's a very interesting. Like you had a journey.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not gonna lie, I still sin. Like don't expect the best from me. I like bending them over sometimes. You know OnlyFans models?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Is this
our guy? Who's that?
Sticky Paw Studio is the name of this place.